25. We'll be back at 36.
No, 26.
We'll be talking about Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull right after the break.
Yeah. Shout out to Madness. Yeah. Rogue Nation 845. Bro.
All right, so I lied because we're going to talk a little bit about Quantum Mania.
I gotta laugh that you cut Sam off right away. Not 26.
It is 26.
No, it is
I
26.
know that. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let you correct me. I'm gonna go right there.
No, I wasn't trying to correct him. I was like, oh shit, it's 26 because we lost 25 because of the freaking video clip or whatever, didn't we?
Right.
What's good, Council of Comics? Welcome back to a new box office and film news. We got our usuals here. Cliff, a.k.a. Cliff NY, a.k.a. Clifford NY. We got Green Shirt Guy, a.k.a. Ronaldo. And we have Phil. What's up, Phil?
What's going on?
How you doing?
All right.
Of course,
So,
like
Phil,
Cliff.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Cliff. No, go ahead.
No, Phil, I want you to tell us first what you thought of Ant-Man at a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah, I give it like a 7 or 8. I like the movie. I think honestly, I also thought it was the best of like the Ant-Man movies.
Ooh.
So yeah, I know that's a little bit, but I liked it. I like Black Panther 2. I think Black Panther 2 is better. I liked it better than Thor: Love and Thunder. And I put it up around the like the Thor Ragnarok. It's about as good as that, around that area. So yeah, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was really good. I thought it moved pretty well. I thought the pacing was pretty excellent. I saw it today. So
Oh, good.
yeah, so I saw the I ended up going to Regal for a change over like the Roosevelt. Yeah. So I got like all the summer trailers, like everything.
I also did Regal because I got to go claim my birthday popcorn.
Nice.
Okay, nice.
And I had 43,000 points, so I also got a free soda.
I spent $8 and got to sit in a heated recliner.
Nice. I think it was lovely though. It was a good time.
Yeah.
We're
Those
going-
heated recliners are nice. Like
We're going
like a heating
tomorrow
pot
to
on
the
your back.
AMC.
Oh, you're going to the AMC? Oh, they're gonna go see it in IMAX.
No. We're not doing the IMAX.
Oh, Jesus. Fine.
Too much. All
Don't
right.
have any wrongs.
Too much.
The
Can't
one I want to
concentrate.
do, the one I'm really tempted to do is I want to see it in 4DX, where the seats move, they blow wind in your face, that the lighting does the extra effects. I loved it for The Last Jedi. It actually, the movie still wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, but the effects were beautiful.
I can't do that stuff because it takes me it reminds me when you're at Disney World. Most of the rides are like that. And it's cool for like 5-10 minutes, but if it's a whole movie, I would drive you nuts.
Well, it doesn't do it the whole movie, but all the action sequences it does it. So like I love that, like the idea of like Wasp flying down a tunnel of quantum energy, and your seats are tilted so you feel like you're going through the tunnel. I enjoy that.
That could be pretty cool.
But it is the priciest of all the formats.
How much is it?
It's like 30 something a ticket, and then when I did it for Last Jedi, it was like a bundle, right? So I got 2 tickets. It was like 60 something bucks. They sent you a premium print in the mail. And it was special. So like, of course I wanted to do it. It was a special date I was having at the time. So, and I actually wanted to go back and do it for Endgame, but I couldn't convince anyone to go with me at that point. But yeah, I'm a little tempted to do it for this movie. But it is what it is. But yes, so I agree with Phil. I thought it was about a 7 or 8. I was really scared by some of the reviewers who I listen to online, who I usually share their opinions. And I was like, oh no. And then I watched it, I was like, oh, come on, guys.
Yeah, I'm starting to notice that a lot of the reviewers that, like you said, that I like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to give them the side eye now. Because I'm like, all these reviewers are making comments about movies that are just not even correct about the movie. And I'm trying to be like, are you guys just trying to like stir up stuff?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just to get clicks? You know what I mean?
I think so. I've kind of wondered that about a bunch of reviewers.
But the people I'm talking about aren't big like Grace. You know, they're small and niche. Like, I mean, not so small that they don't have a following. They're big enough to have a following, but like small enough that they're not beholden to advertisers or anything like that, or like worried about the clicks. You know, they're just telling you how they feel, which was great. And the thing is, all the things they said that they loved about the movie were the things I loved about the movie, but all the things that took them out of the movie didn't bother me so much, or I didn't feel that they were there. But yeah, so like a lot of people had said, oh, there's too many jokes and whatever. I was like, the jokes were fine, and it was not as long as you made it seem.
There was a couple I thought were a little hokey, but in general, that wasn't like joke.
Wasn't Thor jokey, was it?
No, I was absolutely terrified. It was going to be like Love and Thunder level of jokey, the way that some of these guys were going on. And then when I saw it, I was like, it wasn't like that. Thank God, you know? You know, I mean, if you're a big fan of MODOK, who is actually a big fan of MODOK, right?
I mean, but did they do him right?
They did him right.
Okay.
I think they did.
I didn't even know he was going to be in it.
Oh, he shouldn't have been in this movie. I'm like, we're watching a comic book movie here, people.
Okay.
They create his origin and it's interesting. I want to let you see the movie.
But the thing is,
it's not canon, but I was okay with it.
For me, MODOK is a ridiculous character, and they just dove into it being a ridiculous character.
Correct.
A lot of people did not care for that, but at the same time, I was like, but what makes you think MODOK is a more serious character? Like, I don't understand.
Right? Yeah. What gives you that idea?
If and when they introduce what's his name, the X-Men guy that does that has, you know, that does the TV show. I'm blanking on his name right now for some reason. That's also in a floating chair. I can see his face.
The X-Men. Oh,
Mojo.
Yeah.
When they introduce him, people are gonna hate him too, then, because he's a ridiculous character.
Yeah, he is pretty ridiculous. So you guys give pretty good reviews on that. I want to see it tomorrow with Kamara.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, but don't set your bar high.
I haven't anymore. I just want a good movie. I just want.
But I don't want to gas him up too much. Like, we had a nice time watching it. Because
I still think Endgame's right there.
I want to be.
Not Endgame, but it's fun.
I want a movie that's gonna set me on a path for Avengers 5 and Avengers 6.
And I said this.
This
opens that door.
I don't know if I said this in the chat or I just said it to you, Cliff. This is, for me, the flashpoint moment in the MCU that everything going forward from here, this is flashpoint for them. And they're
really
better than DC.
Really?
You watch.
It's like that.
You'll see what I mean. When you watch it, you'll see what I mean. It's not flashpoint, but you'll see what I mean.
The first after credit scene, Sam, leans into what Ronaldo's saying.
Okay.
You know? So pay attention.
This movie is the first in phase 5, right?
The first of phase 5.
So
first of phase 5.
So I mean, even our friend Angel was like, this was not strong. I give it like a 4.5 out of 10.
Really? Angel gave it a 4?
You know? But he still agreed with me that Michelle Pfeiffer and Jonathan Majors were the best part of the movie. So like that part we're clear on. Phil, do you feel the same?
A good villain, you're saying?
Yeah, I liked Michael Douglas too. So
Michael Douglas. Good, but, I mean, but the strongest players of the movie are those two.
Yeah,
they are the meat and potatoes of this, and then of course Ant-Man is our guy. But
is it true? What's his face?
Majors is a great actor. But the thing that drives me nuts, and I've seen him in a handful of movies in the last year now because they're ramping him up, they're making him the next big thing, and that's fine because he's a good actor. I'm not taking anything away, but he does this thing as an actor when he's trying to look thoughtful, where he looks like he's collecting his spit in his mouth, and it drives me nuts. He does this like,
I think I know what you're talking about.
you know what I'm talking about with his lips?
Yeah.
It takes me out of it every single time. It's fine because Denzel Washington has a tick like that, and Tom Cruise has a tick. Every actor has a little thing they do, but that one always takes me out of it. I know it's stupid, but I should let it go, and I generally did, and I think he did an amazing job because there's a bunch of scenes where he eats the scenery.
He does. Even the most ridiculous scene that he's in, I thought it was amazing because he continued to deliver. At no point, as absurd as the things going on around him, he did not break at all. He was absolutely ferocious. Even in the wake of craziness, he was just like, I am the conqueror. And I was like, oh my God, I love this guy.
I thought the scenery for this movie was pretty on point throughout like the whole thing. It was some really like pretty excellent scenery.
I'm trying to save some stuff because I know we're going to review this at the shop this week, but the opening scene, and again, I don't want to give plot stuff away for you, Sam, but when you see them, this panoramic view, I don't need to say Avatar. I just saw Avatar. I saw what probably blows Avatar out of the water.
Really?
To me.
Peyton Reed,
you guys know what I'm talking about? Where they're on that conveyance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's nice. I still think I'm gonna have to go see Avatar just for that 3D experience, you know. Because I was gonna say I'm only gonna go see that in IMAX 3D because like everyone else who saw it, no one said to me you have to see this movie. But everyone I know who saw it in IMAX were like, "Oh my God, it was so visually exciting!" So I'm like, "All right."
All right, that's very interesting. That leads to some movie news. Let me share this screen.
It's already made $75 million.
No, my
More?
friend. It's made $104 million.
Is that really?
So MCU fans are already rooting for Kang in Quantumania and Avengers 5. After debuting, you know, just like you guys talked about. So Kang is the big new it. It's gonna be a big burden on Jonathan Majors because he has to play multiple people going here on out.
Yeah,
he can do it. He really can do it.
I believe he can.
Just wait. So go see the movie.
Definitely. Some other news: Avatar: The Way of Water overtakes Titanic to become the third biggest movie ever.
Hold on. Scroll back up. In that shot, I couldn't tell if he's supposed to have the lines on his face or not. It wasn't evident throughout the movie. Is that, you know, I'm talking about Kang has those things. Is that?
Yeah.
I mean, he had the lines.
Yeah.
He does, but they're not really pronounced there, and you only see him with the mask once.
No, he had the mask a few times.
No, he had the helmet
blue
with just the laser thing on.
The full
like
the full mask. You only see it once. Where you know what I mean?
They said they put these scars on him to simulate the comic book, but they say he got the scars during Multiversal War. Is how he got those scars.
It's fine. I just kept watching it going, is that supposed to be what I think it is or not? Yeah, okay.
Of course, Avatar: Way of Water is number 3 now, with Zoe Saldana in 3 of the top 4, but I want to say 4 of the top 5 because she's also in Infinity War. I don't know why they don't include that. She is in 4 of the top 5 movies of all time. That's bananas, and shout out to Zoe for doing that. Why Jennifer's body failed at first, according to star Adam Brody.
Because the movie sucked. Have you seen it?
No, the movie's brilliant.
It's okay. It's not.
No, it's a really good. It's not
what you think it is. I'll give you that. But
no, it's not what you think it is, but it's a really good grasp of like what horror movies would have been in the 2000s if they actually like were thinking about like this one is what the horror movies probably should have been like from 2000 to 2010. Only one person kind of got the idea, and then it's like, it just fizzled. You know? Because like I remember this and like My Bloody Valentine from like that era. And I really enjoyed this. And then I rewatched it a few months ago and I was like, man, why did we fail this movie?
It didn't do it for me.
That's fair, but like it was different and very different for when it came out.
Oh, I'll give you that. And I think it has a decent premise. I thought it was kind of silly.
Phil, have you watched Jennifer's?
I have not.
I don't think Megan Fox sold it.
But you know what? But she does do what she has to do.
Oh, correct. But
you know, like but the other characters, like, I mean, and I was gonna say it's not literally all about her, but like the other characters are great.
But if she doesn't sell it, you know what I mean? It's like if your main character or the character that drives the plot is kind of it doesn't. That I think that's what it was for me.
I think it deserves a rewatch because you know it really is. It's much better than the early reviews. I will say that. I think Adrian Brody's right. All those reviews back then were really rough.
Okay, interesting. Interview with the Vampire's controversial Tom Cruise casting explained by a director.
I don't care.
Wait. Interview with the Vampire. This is one of my favorite vampire movies.
It's my wife's favorite. Absolute favorite.
It's an amazing movie.
No, is he going to be in like the show or something?
No, this is just people coming out of the woodworks with old stories, and I do love that. I love that. But, I mean, I feel like we heard the story a million times. You know, Anne Rice didn't want him. And then she saw the movie. She's like, oh my God, I was wrong. He was brilliant.
I mean, here's the thing. How many times has a studio come in and stunt cast a role that like we're still talking about this stuff?
Yeah, we're still talking about it.
I mean, this movie came out in '94. It's 30 years old. The story's 30 years old. Who cares at this point?
Well, first of all, he's still alive, and he almost looks like the same person he was then.
Well, because
they're rebooting it though,
and they rebooted it as a TV series. So the TV series is hot and it's got traction. And some people like me, we like the old Hollywood story. I mean, and also, you know what? As much as I'm poo-pooing this because I've heard it all before, there's a young person like me out there who has not heard it before, and this story is for them, you know? And I do have to, sometimes when I'm upset that old news is new again, I have to remember there's a couple other generations out there that also need to hear these tales and be like, wow, that's cool.
Very true. Liam Neeson initially had doubts about his iconic Taken speech.
Yeah.
One where he's like, I will find you and I will hunt you
I have
down.
a particular sense of skill.
And the director said, shut up, you're getting paid a bunch of money. Read what I tell you to read. I don't care if you have doubts.
And then there was the beginning of all these Taken type movies.
I want to see his new movie that came. I think it came out this weekend too. The Marlowe. I think it's like a Philip Marlowe mystery.
Well, this is where his career kind of diverged in the woods, and he became an action hero, if you will, because that's
I would agree with
this type of movie before that.
I would agree with that.
And the funny thing is, after his wife tragically passed, he was just like, I just want to work and just have money for my kids. Like that's it. And then he just started doing these movies. But like it is funny, like he is still like a real actor, right? So I'm sure
he is.
Like I'm sure he had like a lot of thoughts about what his lines were for this film. But at the same time, he was throwing himself into his work.
It's kind of funny too, because he's got a similar, well, maybe not similar in that he chose it, but I think he chose it more than Jason Statham. But Jason Statham was not an action star until all of a sudden people started calling him an action star. He's like, for what? I did this, I did Snatch, I did nothing that's actiony, but I guess so. And now he's considered an action guy, and he does nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a shame because I loved him in all those movies he named. I'm like, yeah, he's great. I would throw him in a serious role in a minute.
I would too. I don't think he's getting offered those anymore. It's really funny.
It's a shame.
He has the Meg though. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Right. Chris Pine talks to the dead in new Dungeons and Dragons movie clip. Do we think this movie's gonna be good?
I do, because I love him and I love Dungeons and Dragons and I really want it to be good. But I do love Chris Pine. I can't remember other than Wonder Woman 84. I can't remember a movie I saw where I didn't love the movie.
I want to like this movie, and I'm going to go in hoping it's good. But it's one of those. I'm looking at the trailer, going, I think they're hiding stuff. You know what I mean? Like they're only showing us the good stuff, and then when you're going to get in, you're like, this is really like. Did you watch the Stones of Shannara when they did it on MTV.
Yes.
And parts of it were really good. But
It started strong.
But then parts of it were really MTV, right?
Yes.
I'm hoping
it does have an MTV gloss.
That's
to
what
it.
I'm feeling.
Does it
I'm
not?
gonna get from this movie.
No.
I'm hoping that's not the case.
I love Dungeons and Dragons, and I don't think it's gonna be good. I don't have hope for this.
I think
Like-
the effects are gonna be good.
What I wanted to see in a Dungeons and Dragons movie, and this is probably just me, but I wanted to see the cartoon redone.
Yeah.
into
The
a movie.
the Dragonlance cartoon.
Well,
Or
the
no,
one
you
that-
mean the 80s
the
one.
old one where the kids get on the ride and
Yeah.
they end up going to the Dungeons and Dragons world and all that stuff.
Like the Dungeon Master.
Yeah, I thought that would be an interesting movie. Dave Eager says the D&D trailer looks so good.
He didn't say so good, but he said it looks good.
I figured they would have went with like a Drift Thornton story or a the Dragonlance story. Those are probably their two most popular
Yeah.
stories. And
Okay, why I think they would avoid that though, Phil, is that's too much pressure,
okay,
right? And it's like a new studio making this, so
yeah,
if they could, and so we've got a theme. It's some sort of heist. There's a different type of bird. We've got a bard, we've got a cleric, we've got a druid. So like we got a knight dude who's a paladin or a knight or a soldier, whatever the hell. But the thing is,
We need
he's
a
some
thief.
sort of
Is there a
fighter.
thief?
No, of course there's a thief.
Isn't Pine the thief?
No, Pine's a bard, but bards can be a little bit thievy, so it's cute. And he sings all the time in real life, so I'm like, let's get this sucker singing in this movie. So Phil, although I agree with you that on them attempting to bank on the popularity of their characters, I think their move to play it safe and just tell an original story that hopefully is way better than that last Dungeons and Dragons movie. Yeah, they
Don't twist my words. I did not twist, sir. I merely added some words.
I said what I said.
But I'm still looking forward to it, and then we'll see what happens when it actually gets here.
All right. Nicolas Cage faces the post-apocalypse in the Arcadian movie Image. Ryan Gosling inspired Austin Butler's intense Elvis weight gain. I still have to see that movie.
What?
I haven't seen that yet. I gotta see that movie.
that's the Elvis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to see that one also.
How Ant-Man and Wasp RT audience score compares to its critic score. So the audience score is about like 87, 90.
Yeah.
And the critic score is like 45.
Yeah. Fuck the critics.
Yeah, I'm getting done with the critics, man. Like, what are they looking for? Like, what do you want?
Well, they're probably getting tired of it.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is it's probably at this point it's vogue to just to pick on the MCU because they're always around for the rise and then they want to be there for the fall too. So they want to create the fall even though it's not there.
Well, no, actually, although there may be some truth to that, I really think they're getting exhausted with this stuff. And because I was telling Angel today when we were messaging back and forth about Quantumania, I was like, the spaghetti western was like in the theater all the time. And then people just got exhausted with it. They were like done. And then we had to move on to other movies. I've always been afraid of that happening with my precious comic book movies, right? Mm-hmm. And I was never more afraid than after Endgame came out.
Well, I'm more afraid now for Secret Wars. Like, how do you top that after that, man?
Here's the thing: is the critics don't buy tickets.
No, that's true. But
so as long as we're still buying tickets and these movies are still making all kinds of money, they're not going anywhere anytime soon.
That is true, but we're looking at audiences. We're looking at people we know, right? And we're watching the waves of, oh my God, this sucked. And I wasted my money again. Larry actually liked this movie, by the way. So shout out to Larry.
Shout out to Larry. Like, and I'm glad that Kevin Feige and Marvel actually realized this. that they were hurting it. They were putting out way too much content and not like focusing it down to make it as good as it could be. They were just throwing stuff out there. Now he says they're not going to be putting as much out there in the shows, and they're going to cut down on things. That's why they delayed the Marvels to November, because when they were getting their feedback from the Marvels, it was not too good.
Well, how much of that is, I mean, some of that's feedback, but how much of that is also Disney stock prices in trouble right now? So they're probably going, well, we can't afford to give you money all the time to make whatever you want to.
That's true, and that's what Iger said. He said, I'm giving creative control back to all the studios, but they will be held accountable if they don't make any money.
Right.
So I think that's good, because I think Kevin Feige's a supreme producer, man. Probably one of the greatest producers of our time. He took Marvel Comics and turned them into the biggest movie studio on the planet. There's nothing bigger than Marvel Studios. And I know all these older studios and these older directors are like, we're tired of superhero movies. Sorry, bud. They've made the most money and got the most fans in the seats because they gave people what they wanted. Like, you can't be upset with that.
And Lucasfilm's right there too, though. But yeah.
But that's all under that. It's all under Disney. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
but it's a different studio, though.
Yeah.
I
mean, they had their problem too. They were rushing it a little bit too. Yeah.
But they've hit their groove now.
Yeah, and there's supposed to be an announcement very soon on a new Star Wars movie. Very soon.
Really?
Yeah. I think the Patty Jenkins movie is out of there.
Which one was that?
It was supposed to be Rogue Squadron. It was supposed to be set after Episode 9.
But that was supposed to be straight Disney Plus, though, wasn't it?
No, that was a real movie.
Oh, was it a theater release? Okay.
Yeah, it was going to begin the new era after Episode 9. But now that's been put on the back burner. Senor Dave, an economic recession also makes people more picky about what tickets they spend money on. Ant-Man was definitely worth it.
He's got a point there. Yeah, I was thinking about that because like the summer looks a little bit loaded, and like you could, if you're like a family of 4, even the Roosevelt, you're into like a $30 thing.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Doing that, like, you know, if you go once a month, you're gonna go see what, like Guardians of the Galaxy, Indiana Jones, like
Flash.
Speaking of that, we're going to see Cocaine Bear this week, right?
Oh yeah,
oh my God, that trailer's crazy.
We're going Friday.
I can't go Friday, but it comes out Friday.
We're going Saturday morning.
I can go Saturday after I get out of work.
I'm like, we're doing this. We're doing this.
We should do this. Anthony brought that up, that should be like a council movie.
It absolutely should be.
They said in the trailer, you're like, "Oh, we're safe. Bears can't climb." Yes, they can.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the box office, dude. Let's get to the real quick. I want to do the numbers for this week. So Ant-Man and the Wasp pulled in $104 million at the domestic box office. That is not including Monday. So they're thinking it's going to be around the 120 range, which is really good. It's really good.
Because it's a holiday weekend this weekend.
Yeah, really good. Avatar came in second with $6 million.
Avatar, eat it.
Magic Mike came in third. With $5 million. Puss in Boots pulling in them strong. Puss in Boots is like 5-10
hanging
million
in there.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a 1 million thing or stuff like that. They put in like 5, 7, 10 every week.
It's the only family movie out there. I mean,
and I hear it's really good too.
I hear it's one of the best animated movies in a very long time. Knock at the Cabin made about $3 million. 80 for Brady made about $3 million. Titanic was re-released.
Of course it was.
Why would you compete with yourself?
Well, it's the 25th anniversary, so I understand.
Yeah, but wait until Avatar's done.
because like he likes to add more money to his pocket.
So stupid.
Yo, his ego must be inflamed by this plan.
His ego is out of control right now.
Can you imagine what it's gonna be like for the third Avatar?
It'll be like, I told you all these other movies were garbage.
Which he's
my Avatar film.
which
got
he
the Fire
filmed
Nation.
already. He's filmed Avatar 3 already.
Oh,
Of course
he's filming
he
them all at the
has.
same time.
That's crazy.
I love that. You know, Superman 1 and 2 were filmed together, and I feel like that's such a brilliant move.
Mm-hmm. Man called
I mean,
Auto.
honestly, what else is he doing?
Nothing.
Yeah.
I watched Megan this week, and Megan is really good. I enjoyed
Thank
that
you.
movie.
Thank you.
That was a cool movie.
What about Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey?
Like, wait, what is that?
Poor
What
Pooh
is
and
that?
Piglet.
What is that?
It's a
Yeah.
horror movie because
It's a horror
Winnie the
movie.
Pooh-
Like,
Winnie the Pooh and Piglet became public domain.
yes.
So
Oh,
the-
Oh,
okay.
is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I knew that.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
do you know who's
That's
next? Eeyore is next to go public domain. And then like Tigger is like in a special like bubble. So God only knows.
So what they're gonna do with Eeyore is they're gonna make him an incel serial killer.
Well, these two are already like
I'm
ravenous
wrong?
murderers. They murder
Well, yeah.
Christopher Robin in the opening of the movie.
Of course.
Yeah. Of course they do. It's crazy. All right, so that's your box office for this week. Not too much, but big for Ant-Man and the Wasp. All right, Cliff, you're up.
All right. Let's talk the very magical times of Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
I did. I got farther into this movie this time than I remembered. I haven't seen it since I saw it in the theater. So I got farther in it this time, going, okay, I remember this, and then I got. It was probably about. It's the scene where they just when they first get there, and they get just after they find the skull. That's about where I was like, okay, I'm done. This is where I know it's about to go bad. And I wasn't wrong. It's still, it's an Indiana Jones movie, but that's where I start to have problems with it.
So what's really interesting is the first three films all start with a story, some kind of 007-esque scenario,
Mm-hmm.
but still a setting which does not have to do with the major plot. And this one starts directly in the plot, introduces a villain, everything.
Yeah, that's a good
Right.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that was like the first thing that I noticed that was different about this was like, oh, like there's no let me get out of here, and like fight these dudes in a nightclub. No, oh, I came here to steal this totem to take back to the university. No flashback to me being a teenager and like how I first ended up with this hat. None of that. It was just straight up, you're in the thick of it. Here's your villains. And we're in the warehouse. We're in the warehouse.
Area
Right.
51.
Yeah.
Well, no, it does kind of open cold opening because you don't know that they're in the trunk until the Russians take the warehouse.
No, but the point is, we meet the villains, right?
Correct.
Like they're the villains, and then the thing that they take, that the villains want, is part of the major plot.
Yeah,
like
and the
there's
other-
no,
Yeah, that's true.
like
in the other
you
movies,
go in.
yeah, in the other movies, the people that he fights in the beginning of the movie have nothing to do with what's going on the rest of the movie. Like Raiders, he was getting that little thing, you know what I mean? Temple
Yeah,
of Doom.
he meets what's his face at the beginning of Raiders, but they're not. Neither of them is looking for the Ark of the Covenant at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course he pisses off the mobster in the Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom, and then the Cross of Coronado in
Right, and the
in the
Cross
last
of Coronado from the flashback to him trying to get it as as an adult. So I thought that was a really interesting take on the opening. Where I was like,
I love the opening. The opening of this movie had me like, okay, let's go, Indy. The only thing that was throwing me off as I watched it again, and I felt the same way when I first watched it, I felt like, 20 years has passed, and I feel like he hasn't he's not in his indie mode, kind of acting a little bit. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I thought part of the
but they go
plot was
tongue
that
in
he was
cheek for
older.
you. Because you remember the part where he does the whip thing and he goes, "Man, I thought that was closer."
Yeah, that was good. That's good.
But do it.
Yeah,
You know, it's getting hard for him.
And I've been watching these movies with my sons, right? Because they haven't seen any of them, and I got to watch them so we can talk about them today. So I've been watching them on Saturdays. I'm watching this one yesterday, and you know the part where he takes the gunpowder and throws it in the air? I'm watching with RJ. He goes, "Well, that wouldn't work." I'm like, "Well, no, you're probably right. But for a movie, let's let it go." He goes, "Yeah, but it's pretty ridiculous." I'm like, "It's an Indiana Jones movie."
Yeah, no, RJ is absolutely right about it. Also,
the only part that would work was when he opens the what do you call it, the shotgun shell and drops the pellets. That I believe.
Yeah,
I fully believe that. But the gunpowder floating in the air and then following it, no thanks.
A different metal it would have worked on. It would not have worked with gunpowder. Also, the lights in the factory would have been bending towards the magnetism.
They did. Yeah, if you notice, when they moved the crate out of the way, the lights all go back like this. They were bending in.
Right, but only as they got closer.
Just the ones above the crate were.
Correct, but it shouldn't. In other words, the way they talked about that thing and magnetism, it should have been all of the lights in the place. Because it's like,
you're probably right.
Anyhow. We got metals that don't respond to magnetism. We got metals that are attracted through magnetism. We got metals that are repelled by magnets, right? This movie did not care about any of the science. It just did whatever it wanted.
Well, and they even say that too, right? At one point, it's like gold is magnetic and isn't magnetic.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but you know, it's an alien skull, so sure, go for it. We meet Mutt in this movie.
I really like Shia. Yeah, I was about to say Shia LaBeouf. Yo, he's one of my favorite actors, man. He's so good in everything that he plays.
I thought the leather jacket was a bit over the top for me, but it is what it is.
No, I thought it was on the waterfront.
Every 5 seconds.
Yeah, very on the waterfront. Right. Rebel Without a Cause.
Exactly.
What is it? The Wild Bunch.
I thought the vibe that they were trying to give was like that, and I was like, yeah, I'm here for this.
Yeah.
To me, I mean, this is just my own opinion. To me, it felt like they only gave him that so you could have the one scene in the diner where the greasers all help him out because
he's a greaser.
The Russians. You know what I mean? Other than that, it plays no role in the rest of the movie.
No, but it sets the tone of what someone his age is in that era.
Okay.
You know? Yeah. Like Marlon Brando was ruling the screens, you know, and I thought it set the tone of what his character is. And then, of course, that there's more than meets the eye. He starts talking to Indy. He's very well educated, despite the fact that he won't finish school.
I did love that. When he finds out, your mother was right. You need to finish school.
Why didn't you make him finish school?
And she's like, I tried to make him finish school.
I love he's like, you told me I didn't have to. Well, that's before I knew of your father, basically.
It was great. And by the way, I loved how you know what's really upsetting? I loved how quickly he was ready to jump back into relationship mode with her. You know? It's like no other woman I've been with is you. And it breaks my heart because when we see this next indie film, I would love to know that.
Yeah, what is it gonna be like?
She's gonna be dead. I'm calling.
What's gonna be?
I don't want her to. Karen Allen is still out there. Bring her back.
She did not age well in that last movie. I'll say that. She's still Karen Allen.
You know what?
And that's okay.
I thought she looked fine.
But at least, but the thing is, she can still act. That's my point.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, come on, use her. You know.
And what are they gonna say about Mutt?
Well, he could be off having adventures and just I don't want these characters ignored, dismissed, killed off. You know, I feel like that's all very harsh.
Well, so when this one came out, Connery wasn't dead yet, but they kill his character off, which totally makes sense because he'd be, 100 and whatever. But they also kill off Brody, who I think that guy actually was dead at that point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was
I think Broadbent did a good job kind of replacing that Brody voice but he was a little, he was funnier than Brody was.
Was Oxley in the first movie?
No.
Why do I have this feeling like he was in the first movie? I don't know why. I don't know. So I guess he wasn't.
Hey, his classroom was still like 85% women. Cliff.
But I know
more generous, but it was still mostly
I think it was 70-30. This was the most men I've seen in any of the classes.
And the most diverse.
Yes, and the most diverse. So I was happy to see that the university in the 1950s was like owning up to some diversity. But clearly his classroom's still very popular with the young ladies and the gays. And like, because like it's obvious no one actually cares about archaeology like this.
I did love though when you see Broadbent come in, and then the other all three movies I think you see it, where somebody steps in his classroom and then and they wait for the lecture to be over and they're like, I need to talk to you. And he just in the middle, he goes, what do you need?
Yeah. No, it was great. That part was great. By the way, I really like the three of them together as an adventuring family. Like I was really invested and sold on that.
I was too.
That was actually like really like, even with the story like being off the rails, I was really enjoying like the three of them. Her's like, hold your form. He's like, Mom, this isn't a fencing class.
Yes,
real.
The fencing thing took me out of it, but I was like, okay, of course he would have taken fencing.
It took me out of it the first time I watched it because I was like, what the hell? But then when I watched it the second time, I heard the line of he took fencing in school and stuff like that, and I was like, I missed that.
It to me it felt hokey, but it's fine.
Definitely.
But at least it was a good plot device.
Right.
It wasn't like a throwaway line about fencing. It's like, well, here I go. And she's got a rapier.
What I
like the other Indiana Jones had like just the perfect amount of campiness for them, and I feel like they just turned the campiness up like on this movie, and it might have like taken it a little bit out of it. Where if you turned that campiness down, this would have been, this would have been a lot better.
Yes, like some of that. Oh my God! Look at this this comment.
No, it's hokey.
It's hokey.
No, you're right. Like they turned the dial up too much. To where it was bad, but I enjoyed their chemistry. Like the three of them together was right. They just needed to temper it.
What I was gonna say is what I enjoyed about Shia LaBeouf's character in this is every time you saw him and Karen Allen kind of rekindling stuff, you'd see him look over like, what the fuck? No. Leave my mom alone.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Empire Comics says, what's up, Council? Was good. Mark says, better script.
It needed a better script.
Like I said, for the first 45 minutes to an hour, I can't remember what the exact minute mark was. I'm okay with it. It kind of, once it gets to South America, that's where I think where the campiness kind of, and there was some silly stuff in there for me.
Right. It probably should have tightened up and been a little more serious.
They did it seemed like they did a lot of research too, because those spots in Peru with like those carvings in the ground,
lines, all that.
Yeah, they exist and stuff. Like, so that was like
the research was spot on. The idea of their gods being aliens, not outside the realm of possibility because of what we do know. Like they used what we have in real life, and like they did some good things. It wasn't great.
And they kind of made it believable too, because you get the right at the beginning, although you don't live by jumping into a refrigerator. I'm sorry. That was crazy. Well, here's the thing too, right? So the refrigerator goes flying, whatever. Let's just for argument's sake say that does happen and he lives through it tumbling like crazy. Why aren't all the other refrigerators in that town flying as well? There's only one in the entire town.
I think his bones would be crushed from the mirror being flung in that thing all that way and landing.
Absolutely. But so anyway, so they take him out and you see them scrubbing him for the radiation or whatever, but they ground it with the 2 FBI agents that come in and are really grilling him. And that colonel comes in. He's like, "Oh, don't you remember that?" He's like, "Oh, you mean that thing back in 1947? That was, and so you're like, oh, he of course was there and knows all about this."
Yeah.
So you believe all this that happens afterward could happen because they grounded at the beginning. It just gets.
They mentioned that he joined the military.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So after Last Crusade, he joined the military.
Became a colonel. Colonel Jones.
Which is pretty cool.
I think there was also a quick reference to like the Young Indiana Jones Chronicle.
Yes, there was. But that's a little later in the movie, I think. He mentioned something about I was young then, or something like that.
Yeah, he was traveling with like somebody somewhere.
Yeah. Mr. Shah.
Who's the guy that plays Osley too? He's great through the whole thing.
Who?
Or not the
Ox?
Ox. Oxley. I said Osley. I meant Oxley. He's
great.
I forget his name, but he's always good.
Yeah, he's always good. Mark says that show was fire. I guess he's talking about the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. We will not forget Harrison Ford's cameo in that show. It was a great cameo. If we're going by canon, Indiana Jones doesn't die. Because in the Indiana Jones Chronicles, he's an old man sitting in a chair telling a tale.
Mm.
So hopefully they don't kill him in the next movie. You know what I mean?
He's going to be...
Well, one thing that I'm disappointed by with them killing off Henry Jones Sr., the first, is that the story in The Last Crusade says that the two knights that lived to be like 150 each, right? That they did gain longevity from drinking from that cup, right? So, and this is why this is part of one of the things I don't like about this being a sequel. I love the idea of Indy and his dad taking off and that they have a long life because they drank from the cup, right?
Well, I mean, the easy fix with that is he doesn't die of natural causes. He killed in a car accident or something.
Right, of course, but like still, and I could let that go, but like still, it's kind of like, how much do we ignore of what went on there? And like even in the new trailer for the next movie, he's like, I don't believe in things, but there are things I've seen that I can't explain. I'm like, dude,
it's all true.
Like, come on, man.
What's that Han Solo line? It's all true.
Yeah.
He said a Han Solo line in this one. He said,
I have a bad feeling about this.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
I don't remember that, but okay.
Yeah, when they're inside the temple with the crystal one sitting down, and then they start to put the thing back. He goes, I got a bad feeling about this. I was like, wait a minute. That's Star Wars. What are you doing?
Well, it is a Lucas.
Well, that's okay.
Well, did you guys ever see the thing?
In Temple of Doom, they're in Club Obi-Wan.
Comic book. Did you see the comic book where the Indiana Jones is going into this cave to discover stuff, and he comes across Chewbacca?
No.
Because Han Solo and Chewbacca did some hyperspace thing and they ended up on like Earth, and then you see Han Solo's body like in skeleton form, but Chewie's like going after him and stuff like that.
It'd be fun. It'd be funnier as if Han Solo and Indy kind of look at each other and kind of go, and they keep walking.
By the way, shout out to Josh who pointed out the Fleischer's Superman cartoon in the movie and the music, and because that dun, 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 it plays when Indy like changes from like Professor Jones into Indiana Jones.
I mean, how many times did they tease him losing the hat in this too?
Yeah. I thought that this was going to be the handing off of the torch. Honestly.
Well, they teased it about 5 times, and then they didn't do it.
They even teased it at the very end with the hat going to him.
Yeah.
Yes. And then he takes it from him. Yep.
So Mark asked, why was that not a key issue? But because it was done as a joke is my thought on it not being a key issue.
Yeah. So it was just done as like some alternate reality type stuff.
By the way, love this shot. I love this shot of just like the whole cast like behind the camera with like George Lucas like looking at everything together. Like, wow, that's really good.
I love George Lucas. Go back to that last one. I love George Lucas as this gajillionaire at this point, right?
Yeah.
And look at the sneakers.
What's up with them Nikes, bro?
I mean,
what are those?
Those are some comfortable running shoes. Like, you got that comfortable pair of sneakers.
Him and Spielberg are almost the same dude when it comes to this. They have a simple aesthetic, and like that's it. Like that's just how they carry themselves. I think it's fantastic. But I do love the behind the scenes stuff. Like everyone is just so like chill and like invested in the work. Like you know people are invested in the work where you have like all the cast behind you be like, yeah, what do the takes look like from today? Yeah, like I love that. I like
at the beginning too. In the opening credits, it says story by George Lucas.
Yes.
But it doesn't say written by George Lucas. So
no, I think they had another writer.
That's what I'm saying. Did he come up with the concept for this movie and then somebody else took it?
Yeah.
Right, he probably did the whole plot.
He comes up with the basic story of all the Indiana Jones movies and then they give it to somebody to write. Right.
I like those ants. Like that.
The ant part was pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Cate Blanchett, but for me, this was not a great movie for her.
Her wubbies.
She was so ridiculously over the top. And she's usually very understated and you believe everything she's doing. This one was like, especially at the end, she's like, I see, tell me everything. I was like, come on. And then as we were saying before we started, she fell into the Indiana trope of, the villain gets disintegrated.
Right? That same thing.
Burn through the eyes first, too, as well.
So we're approaching the end of our evening.
You want to save that for that next time? Or you want to?
Well, no. I figure let's just do our picks
for animated.
Yeah. So I gave everybody a miniature assignment this week, which was, what's your favorite animated feature that was based on a comic? So actually, you know what? I'll go first. And oh my god, I hate doing this, but I'm doing it. All right, so mine was All-Star Superman. And now I enjoyed the comic, and the comic is like very whimsical and stuff. Because it's very like Silver Age Superman, right? I mean, like Superman robots and Superman in his white uniform. But basically, like Lex Luthor sets a trap for Superman. Superman goes to rescue these scientists. He gets overexposed, and like there's a beefed up Lex with God knows how many things in him. But Superman's too close to the sun. He gets overly solar charged, right? And in this rendition, it basically like makes him sick, right? Like he's slowly dying because his body can't process all of that solar radiation. And he starts developing like new abilities. Like here he is like fracturing into light as he flies. This is actually from the end where he's flying off into space. And then this is like from when he's trying to spend alone time with Lois, and he actually like has a formula and a suit for her, makes her Superwoman for a day. The Bottled City of Kandor, who of course he's worried about. Lex giving himself powers. And Lex actually, oh my god, that's horrible. So like
the endless void.
Lex comes around towards the end of the movie because like Lex has all Superman's powers. He's like, oh man, I can see string theory. But of course, Lex only replicates Superman's formula that he made for Lois to give him the 24 hours of powers. So he runs out at the end. And then of course the sun is going to collapse. So Superman flies into the sun as he's bursting into energy to heal the sun. And then you're left to your imagination if Superman like healed the sun, or Superman died up there, or whatever. But Grant Morrison, who wrote the comic and who wrote DC 1 Million, is like, no, he becomes Superman 1 Million. Like he's fueled by the sun, and he moves his fortress into a tesseract that's in the sun, and he powers all the generations of Supermen that come after him. So I like that idea. I think it's sweet. But that was my favorite animated movie. That was based on a comic book series, at least. Next up, Ronaldo, you chose Batman: The Killing Joke.
I did. It's one or two I could think of. I apologize. I really love this comic. Having said that, let me just separate. I don't love because there's two stories in this feature. If you remember, there's a Batgirl Batman story that I think you can throw completely in the trash. I think it's garbage. But the Killing Joke retelling in this it's pretty spot on. It's almost like you're watching the comic movie. They hit all the major plot points. You get the craziness and the sinister aspect to the Joker, where he takes Gordon on that ride through the tunnel with all the craziness, and it's kind of creepy, much like it is in the comic. So I think it's a pretty faithful adaptation. And I
agree with you.
I haven't watched it. I can't remember at the end. Do they do the thing in the rain where it goes quiet? I can't remember.
They do.
Okay. And I think there's a bonus credit scene where you see like she's in the wheelchair and she's pulling up to the computer screen like Oracle.
Okay.
Like I thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm. That was pretty cool. I liked it. I like this one.
And I saw this in the theater, which is crazy because you wouldn't think you.
This came out in the theater.
They did a Fathom event thing. They did a limited release.
It was me, Anthony, Ryan, and I think there was a fourth person, but I can't remember who it was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how is that possible? That was my freaking backlash.
What's that?
The audio backlash.
Oh, okay.
We didn't hear anything.
Oh, good. Yay! I'm glad you guys didn't hear anything. Awesome. All right, that brings us to Phil's choice.
Yeah.
Heavy metal.
The heavy metal. And he's got the laser disc.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I chose heavy metal. Like I was a teenager through the 90s, and along the way I started like reading heavy metal religiously. And the editor-in-chief was Kevin Eastman at the time. And I never knew there was a heavy metal movie until it finally got like released in the 90s because he bought the rights to all the music to get it released.
Wow.
Yeah, like so that's how this actually got released. And I was like, I thought like by now I've seen a few animes and stuff, so I was like, oh, this isn't gonna be like the heavy metal I'm reading. And when the cartoon really came through, and it did like everything that Heavy Metal magazine did, like it was an anthology, it was like an adult cartoon. It was definitely like I hadn't seen like something like that. The soundtrack for it was like just amazing too. John Kennedy has a couple good voice acting in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is actually like definitely a favorite film of mine.
I mean, it's got a tremendous following. It's really well received.
Yeah, it does have a bit of a cult following now, but yeah, it's pretty well received.
Yeah. I think it's always had a cult following. Like I remember people talking about this in junior high school. And I'm like, oh, I guess I gotta watch it. And like,
it was that risque cartoon.
Yeah, exactly. It was one of those risque things to watch. Like, wow, look at that imagery. Like that's risque. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like considering that this came out in like 80, what was it? 81? It was like it was even
very
probably
early.
Way more risque for the time period.
Mm-hmm.
It really wasn't like an adult like animation. Like maybe Ralph Bakshi was doing a little bit of that, but nothing to like quite this level. Yeah, that was my pick. Heavy metal.
All right, we're gonna jump to Sam's pick before we wrap up.
Uh-oh.
And I gotta be ever so careful. And
my
Sam,
pick is Justice League Flashpoint Paradox.
I haven't seen this either.
Just like when I first got Flashpoint, it was at a time where I was in and out of comic books. And I was just going into comic shops, and this was one of the first DC books that I had picked up in a while. And I was like, "Oh, they're gonna reboot, so let me see what this is all about." And I really loved the comic. So when they had the animated movie come out, I was like, "Oh, they're probably not gonna get it just like it was in the comic." And there are some slight changes, but it is so spot on. It is so spot on with the war, the whole Superman being locked up down there, the Thomas Wayne. It just made Flashpoint come to life to me more than the comic book did. Like when he gives the note to Bruce from his father, and then Bruce is just like, "What's this?" And he reads it, and you just feel the emotion off the animation that Bruce finally got to talk to his father, even though it was in a weird way. And this kind of started the new DC animated universe.
Yep.
Which was excellent. That animated universe was excellent, in my opinion. Honestly,
what, the one that came after this?
Yes, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very
good.
much.
Some of it was terrible,
but I like the fact that it was all linked. You know what I mean? Like it all went together. And the animation was pretty much the same. I think some of the things were different, but the animation was pretty much the same for the new universe going forward. And I thought the one thing about the universe, I thought they ended it abruptly, I think, because they wanted to restart a new universe.
Yeah.
But yeah, Flashpoint Paradox that was my joint. And considering the Flash movie is coming out, I guess they're not the same, but they are a little bit.
Well, they definitely share the whole, how did this happen? Well, I was trying to save my mother.
Yeah, like they're using the Superman
trope,
they're changing it out with
Supergirl.
They're doing the Batman thing, but they're kind of changing it to Michael Keaton, Old Man Batman. But I don't think they're doing the Atlantean versus Amazon, which they could be doing.
We have Zod in place of that.
Yeah.
Real before Zod.
Yeah.
And honestly, that was the last thing I expected, but I'm happy to see him. And Michael Shannon's pretty great, so I think I don't know what I think. I mean, like, you know.
Watch Amsterdam. Michael Shannon's in that, and he's great in that.
Oh, okay.
He's great, and Mike Myers is in it too. He's pretty great. There's all the side characters in it score, but the three main characters are really, really well done.
Very
nice. Based loosely on true events.
Even better.
All right, good job, Cliff. Good job. So that is our show for this week, episode number 26. If you are watching on Facebook, you guys gotta forgive me. I'm just getting over like a little cold, so I got a lot of phlegm, so it's making it difficult for me to talk.
Unacceptable.
But if you're on Facebook, jump over on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you like, share with all your friends. Remember, we do this every week at 5 o'clock on Sundays. We talk about the film and box office news. Tomorrow, we will be going live on President's Day at 8 o'clock, where we will go over the new key and hot comic books of the week. We'll talk about some comics. Like, did you read your 8 Billion Genies? That was amazing. It's amazing. It's only got one issue left. And the Eve finished too, which is pretty good. So tomorrow
I read comics this weekend for the first time in a while.
Huh?
I read some comics this weekend for the first time in a while.
I read the Spider-Man, the last hunt about Craven. The last issue of that was really amazing.
Nice.
I read Dream Master.
Thank you, Dave.
Oh, I read 7 Years in Darkness, which comes out next month, but I got a more or less an advanced copy from the writer/artist at not Terrific. Yeah, Terrificon. What's the one? That's the one in Connecticut?
Yes.
Yes. Last year. Yeah. It's interesting. It's pretty good.
You know what I noticed of all my books? Only 2 of them were Marvel and DC. And the rest
most
were like
of mine are Image.
Like Nightclub, phenomenal book. Grimm was phenomenal. House of Slaughter was phenomenal. The Last Barbarians was okay. It was okay. Star Wars, phenomenal. Bounty Hunters, phenomenal. Eve, phenomenal. Like, they were all really good. And I'm noticing that independents are starting to be really... They've always been good. But now they're starting to overtake my Marvel DC.
Mm-hmm.
Which had never been like that before.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But yeah, so tomorrow, tune in if you want to hear more comic book talk, where we talk about the new keys and hot comic books of the week. We will be here at 8 o'clock. Also, remember, we have tons of videos on the channel. Please go to the channel, hit subscribe, go look at all of them. We will be at the comic shop on Tuesday, filming New Comic Book Day. They're also going to be doing a review for Ant-Man Quantumania. We're going to be doing a review for The Last of Us, episode number 6. So keep on there.
Who dies this week?
And Phil has also blessed us with a lot of new comics that we can go back and review. So I want to start planning some comic book reviews, even if you guys want to do them solo or whatever. Like, we have the ability. I want to get into. I'm looking up all the X-Men, like X-Men, starting with the new X-Men, like X-Men 94 and Giant Size X-Men number 1. I want to start going through those, and we can start going through more. Also, we're working on Cliff's Corner. We're talking about that. We're talking about Phil's Place. We're talking about that. We haven't come up with a name for a Green Shirt Guy. I don't know. Green Shirt Guy, he's thinking about it. I think Green Shirt Guy should be a drawing show. That's what I think.
I mean, I have no problem doing it.
A live drawing show. That would be pretty dope.
It might be kind of boring just to watch me draw, though. So somebody have to sit there and talk.
No, I mean, somebody would be there to talk. It doesn't have to be all of us. It could be one of us. It could be all of us. You know what I mean? We could have some guests on as well. But yeah, so we're working on a lot of new content, and we want to bring you guys a lot of new stuff. So that being said, for myself, for Cliff, for Green Shirt Guy, for Phil, and the rest of the Council of Comics, we thank you for watching. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow. Be safe.